Hi, today we're going to do Pythagorean theorem. Please look on the Moodle site and watch the quick video that I posted there. It's just a really nice example of how Pythagoras works. So Pythagorean theorem only works for right angle triangles. And basically what the video will tell you is that in that instance, if it's a right angle triangle, which means it has a 90-degree angle, usually indicated by a square, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if you take the sides of all of your triangles and you square them, find the area of the corresponding square, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The most important one here is c squared. All right, c squared, c is always the hypotenuse. It is the hippopotamus of our triangle. It's the biggest line on our triangle, and it's always going to be across from 90 degrees. So that is the most important, the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse always has to be on the outside, and in the two sides, it doesn't matter which one's A and which one's B. So basically, it's side squared plus side squared equals the hypotenuse squared. Two things you have to be aware of when you're using Pythagoras. First, it only works if you have a right angle triangle. So you have a 90-degree angle in your triangle. In this case, this triangle, there is no 90-degree angle, so Pythagoras is not going to work. Angles in the triangle always add up to 180 degrees. 30 plus 75 plus 75 equals 180 degrees. If you're given a triangle and you only know two of the degrees, you can always find the third degree by going 180 minus the degrees that you have. So first, have to have a right angle triangle. Second, you have to make sure you label the hypotenuse properly. So this is a right angle triangle. It should be indicated, you would either say 90 or you have a square to indicate that it's 90. Very first thing you should do when you're asked to find a side is label the hypotenuse. It's always going to be across from the 90-degree angle. So this is our hypotenuse. I'm going to call it x. And we know a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So it's our side squared. The length of one side is 3. We're going to square it, and the length of the second side is 4 equals c squared. We know from the previous lessons, if I say 3 squared, that means 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. And 4 squared, that means 4 times 4, that is 16. So I have 25 equals c squared. So 25 equals c times c. I want to find what just c is, so I do the opposite of squared, and I take the squared root of both sides. Square root of 25 is 5, and square root of c squared is c. So I get 5 equals c. And that is the answer to my missing side. See this in picture form. So see in this picture, there's 9. The side is 3. So we made square with 3 times 3, 9 squares. And then here we have a square with, it's not fully shown there, 4 times 4, which is 16 squares. And then here, making a square off of our triangle, we'd get 25. This 9 plus 16 is 25. So these squares can fit in that area. Let's just write that out. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Again, our 5 is a c squared. 3 squared plus 4 squared Now, you're either going to be looking for the hypotenuse, and that's fairly straightforward. You add your two squares together and you take the square root, or you're going to be looking for one of the sides. So, on your 90-degree angle, go across from the 90-degree angle. That is your hypotenuse. And this is one of the sides. I always put in the hypotenuse first. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. C squared is my hypotenuse, so I'm going 13 squared. And then we're just squaring both the sides. 12 squared plus, we'll call this x. X squared is 13 squared. We're solving for x here. I want to get x by itself, so I'm going to subtract 12 squared from both sides. X squared is 13 squared minus 12 squared. And now we're going to use our order of operations and solve the exponent. 13 squared is 13 times 13, which is 169. 12 squared is 12 times 12, which is 144. We subtract them, and we get x squared is 25. Oh, same as last time. So again, we're going to take the square root of both sides, and x equals 5. So in this case, we were looking for a side, and we went the hypotenuse, subtracted the other side that we had. In the first case, we were looking for the hypotenuse, so we added the squares of both the sides. So I should say here, we went to the hypotenuse squared, subtracted the side squared, and then took the square root. And that is it for Pythagoras. Please watch the lesson on your Moodle site as well.